social media to either address public grievances or to vent out their frustration on certain recurrent problems, especially those related to sensitive issues such as communalism, casteism, and regionalism. Comment: 250 words. The Indian Express answered, social media is the boom of the current generation. It has brought governments, civil servants, people into its manifold. Using social media by civil servants has some advantages. It makes them reach the people fast, they become more accountable and transparent, it provides immediate attention to the issue. Social media can be used by them to create awareness about social welfare programs as the audience are huge. However, civil servants are needed to be politically neutral, and impartiality is the cornerstone of the service. So some concerns arise when sensitive issues like communalism, casteist incidents are highlighted in social media because it shows their bias and people would perceive it as the civil servant is favoring one community over the other, leading to loss of trust in the administration. Even the proposed changes to the rule book to explicitly treat criticism of government policies on social media as a violation of conduct rules. It is not the official way to resolve grievances and should be treated as the last resort. Their comments might lead to further decisions in the society, and violence can crop up. Being a civil servant should have some characteristics like emotional, intelligent leadership, able to effectively resolve ethical dilemmas and act responsibly following the code of conduct and not create further disturbances in the society. www.insightsindia.com 27 www.insightsays.com. Topic: Ethical issues in international relations and funding. Q1 Foreign aid from developed countries in the West has for long been touted as an important tool to help the poorest people in Asia and Africa lead better lives. Examine the ethical issues involved in these foreign aids to poor countries. 150 words. The Hindu background. Foreign aid can save the lives of millions of people living in poverty around the world. It addresses issues such as health, education, infrastructure, and humanitarian emergencies leading to sustainable growth and development. Over the past half-century, aid to developing countries has grown to be big money, financed through taxation and delivered through a plethora of government and philanthropic organizations. Yet its ethical underpinnings have received surprisingly little attention. Ethical issues. Most of such aid fails to reach the poorest people who need it the most. Foreign aid manages only to improve the lives of the richest people in the poorest countries of the world, reinforcing social inequities and perpetuates cycles of political abuse, lack of transparency and accountability. Foreign aid's biggest downside is that no clear, effective system has been put in place to hold aid recipients and their governments accountable for resources illegally taken from public sector coffers. Sovereignty affected. Aid dependence results in bad governance, stunting development, and makes the recipient countries at the mercy of the developed countries, as is the case in the African countries. Foreign aid are short-term interventions lacking lasting sustainable impact. Some of these blame the World Economic Structure, or LDC, are put in perpetual dependency. Its volatility and unpredictability makes it difficult for countries to factor it into long-term spending plans and include it in budget. Cultural imposition also takes place. Lack of compassion and selfish motive. Foreign aid is dispatched by bureaucrats and politicians who usually direct the flow of aid into the developing world. Corruption. Their decisions are driven mostly by political considerations rather than noble intentions. This naturally leads to various forms of corruption. Rise of fundamentalist tendencies. Aid from some of the countries increased the extremist tendencies in countries like Pakistan. Way ahead. Foreign aid can only yield results when it is consecrated to improve lives of the poor ones through a variety of empowerment programs, both for women, unemployable youth, and vulnerable. It should help the government generate employment which will increase their living standards and the level of consumption. It can have positive impact when it facilitates technology transfer, invest in research and higher education, build strong competitive market and freedom of all sorts to create enabling environment for investors. The notion of helping others can be effective when the donors provide selfless aid rather than expecting the returns from these underdeveloped countries.